This is what psychological slavery looks like. Take a listen.
Trump is the first black president.
Amen.
Because he's the first one that has actually addressed issues in the black community. Like, Obama didn't do it.
He said it, not me.
I mean, in my lifetime, I've gone through Clinton, Bush, and Obama. Neither of them have done anything.
They certainly haven't advocated for responsibility and taking ownership of your own life and knowing that you are an individual and that in America you have freedom. We defined you as free.
They didn't even put America first. Yeah, guys. You know, Donald J. Trump puts America first. So you gotta love that man.
Awesome.
Got to.
You guys, this...
Hello family, welcome once again to another episode on my YouTube channel. We will be discussing psychological slavery, mostly among black Americans. When a black man calls Trump the first black president while wearing a MAGA hat, that's not confusion, that's conditioning. A performance of loyalty to a system that never loved black Americans. We only get one soul in this life. Nature and treat it well. Ask yourself, what are you doing is bringing you closer to what you want or taking you away. Black Americans have been psychologically manipulated and conditioned to accept this inhuman treatment, and the way they have affected them has become a norm. You are not free. The system is designed to keep you enslaved. Psychological slavery in black Americans is a concept that explores the lasting mental and emotional impacts of slavery on black individuals and communities. Let's watch the following videos to the end carefully.
event is absolutely incredible. What's happening in this country, what's happening here in the heart of Los Angeles, California. We are flipping California red. We are taking America back for red, white, and blue. All colors, all flavors, all races, all religions. It's all e pluribus unum, from the many one. We are one people, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all. 4 more years.
4 more years for Trump.
Okay, so let's be real now. This isn't about a brother in a MAGA hat, right? This is about a disease in our community. A deep generational brainwashing that makes us defend the very system that was built to keep us down. That is not freedom, my brothers and sisters. That is psychological slavery. When I see a black man calling Trump the first black president, I don't see pride. I see pain that has not been processed. I see somebody who's been so down by the system, so hungry for identity, that he grabs the first thing that makes him feel powerful, even if it's a lie. Let me say this loud and clear. Trump is not and never will be the first black president. He's the first to convince some of us that our liberation lies in submission. He's the first to wear racism in plain sight while using black faces as political props to say, see, I can't be racist. And some of y'all fell for it hard. But it's not just him. It's a systemic strategy. Replace our history with propaganda. Feed us toxic masculinity and call it strength. Preach personal responsibility while defunding our schools, stealing our votes, locking us up, and calling our leaders thugs. That's not love, y'all. That's manipulation. Now, don't get me wrong. We have every right to criticize past Democratic leaders, even Obama. But please don't ever confuse critique with betrayal. Don't sell your soul to the same movement that would have had your grandmother picking cotton with a smile just because they told you you're different. You want to be a patriot? Cool, be one. But please don't co-sign a man who banned DEI programs, praised Confederate statues, refused to say Black Lives Matter, told the police to rough up suspects, aka us, and tried to erase the teachings of slavery and racism in schools. You can't wear a red hat and act like you represent freedom when you're parroting white nationalism in black skin. The truth is, this behavior is not confusion. It's survival trauma. It's what happens when we've been lied to so long, we start mistaking our oppressor for our protector. But here's the truth. Responsibility without justice is just obedience. Patriotism without truth is just propaganda. And loyalty to a man who wouldn't defend your humanity, that's not love, bro. That's captivity. And to all my people now, this is bigger than him. We got to stop laughing at this and start healing from this. Because this is not comedy. This is conditioning. So this is something I want to challenge you to do. Study your history. Guard your mind. Speak truth in love, but never sugarcoat reality. And when you see a brother or sister lost in that MAGA fog, don't just roast them, reach for them. Because if we don't educate our own, they're going to keep weaponizing our ignorance against us. We are not props. We are not pawns. We are not confused. We are the descendants of warriors, revolutionaries, kings, queens, and freedom fighters. Act like it. Speak like it. Vote like it.
Colonization is when an outside force encroaches another forces or a country's land, manipulates their way of thinking, appropriates their land and resources, kills their tradition, kills their culture, makes them feel subservient, and then in this state, some flee to the other side of the river, assimilated, brainwashed into believing in the existence of a superior race. Old religions are forgotten. Community is forgotten. Ethno-aggregation is forgotten. Colonization then is transformed into psychological institutionalization, an outside force that encroaches man's liberty, man placed in a subaltern position, but believes he exists in a parallel and free integrated state. The war is won by them through mental dilapidation, creating men afraid of losing their freedom, men accepting slavery, believing that lost freedom is a life.
I am a firm believer that hustling is a form of psychological slavery. In no way, shape, or form should we ever be sacrificing our emotional, mental, spiritual, physical well-being for anything that we are ascertaining or wanting to achieve. I spoke in another video about how when you hustle to this degree in which you are sacrificing your well-being, it is bringing you much closer to your detriment than to whatever it is that you are wanting to ascertain. I say all this to say, slow down and really ask yourself what it is that you want and what it is that you're conquering or trying to conquer, and if it is worth the sacrifice of your well-being. You get one soul in this life, one body, and it is our due diligence to feed it and nurture it well without the sacrifice of our soul, our safety, and our well-being.
And what happens upon freeing these people that you have consistently demonized, dehumanized, victimized, and oppressed? How do you coexist? And some, like Thomas Jefferson, didn't believe it was possible to coexist. Suggests that they should be moved way beyond, back to Africa, away from the memory, the 10,000 recollections, to quote him, of what has been done to them. That he believed would end up causing the extermination of one or the other race, white or black. He didn't believe they could coexist because we'd remember what was done to us. So what do? You erase the memory.
Christianity is one of the main reasons that slavery lasted as long as it did. 400 years. It's still got its effects now, but we're just going to talk about that time frame. You just wrap your mind around this. Just really think about this critically. These people were so evil. The stuff they did, I can't even say on TikTok without the video getting flagged, because it was just that just treacherous, right? But somehow they're going to offer you something good. Just let that sink. Why would they tell you anything that's going to be beneficial? And why would they hold something from you that's bad for you when everything they doing is bad? Like everything that we had before Christianity, all the African spirituality and all of that stuff that our people practice was demonic, according to these people that's enslaved you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Why would they tell you to do something that's beneficial for you? And at the same time, you got to wait on Jesus. You got to forgive. You got to obey your master. They telling you to do all these things that benefits who? Them. So not all slaves, because a lot of them weren't falling for that shit, but the ones who did wasn't going to be violent, or they was going to be obedient, and they didn't think, let's fight back. And a lot of them waited on Jesus. A lot of them waited on a God to come down and save them, which never happened. And the reason slavery ended, if you know your history, is through violence. Doing the exact opposite of what Christianity teaches you is what got black people out of slavery. By getting revenge, by being violent, by protecting ourselves, by not turning the other cheek, by disobeying the master. That's what got us out of slavery. But if it weren't for the whole Christianity thing, that stuff would have came and went like that. Cause we ain't going for that. We ain't forgiving nothing. We ain't buddies. I ain't obeying the damn thing. That's how things would have went. And to this day, so many black people, massa still got them by the balls. That's what I say. A massa got y'all shook because, oh, you can't speak against the Bible. You can't do that. Something bad gonna happen. Yeah, that's how the slaves sound when they got indoctrinated with that stuff. And some of y'all are holding on to that same stuff that ain't benefiting no black people to this day.
The more I find out about slavery, the more I can't sleep at night. While we're on the topic of comfort women and what happened in World War II, let's jump back into what happened in slavery because a lot of you guys want me to cover that. It goes so much farther than slaves and plantations. The things that were being done to black people during this time was nothing short of sinister. Like, it was pure evil. You know the common first word that we have, MFer? Do you know that comes from when they would take black male slaves, and to break their confidence if they came across too alpha, they would take them to an area where it could become a spectacle and publicly R-word them. These male white slave owners would publicly R-word, like brutally R-word these men to break their spirit in front of everyone. And they would make sure that their mothers, their wives, their children were there to watch. And in other instances, if they weren't going to R-word the slaves themselves, they would break their spirit by having them R-word their own mothers. And that's where the word MFer came from. So next time you're saying that, double think. And this was the beginning of trying to break down the father, the man in the black household. Don't even get me started on that, y'all. Systemic racism is crazy. Now going on to the women. Did you know that when they wanted to study anything medical, when it comes to like the health of a white woman, they would try it first on a black woman. Oftentimes, C-sections were performed on black women while they were completely awake. No anesthesia, nothing was given to them. And if they somehow survived during this, they would take the babies and they would... Man, I don't even know if I can say this without getting banned. Viewer discretion is advised. TikTok, this is for educational purposes only. Please do not take my video down. They would take their babies, bury them. Bro, I can't even talk about this. They would bury them and have their heads above the ground, and they would basically play golf with the babies' craniums. Or if a woman had a baby, a black woman had a baby, and their slave master's wife had a baby, they would force the black women to nurse the white baby while they watched their own child starve to death. And it would be forbidden for them to feed their own child. The babies were also used as alligator bait. That was a common thing as well. To top it all off, there were some plantations, this is going to be crazy, there were some plantations that even consumed the meat of their slaves. And obviously, you guys have seen it in the museum, they've used their hair as cushion for seats, for furniture. Slavery was so much more than they teach you in history class. I don't even know if it's being taught in history class anymore, but it's so much more. It's very much simplified and made more palatable because they don't want you to know exactly what happened. They don't want you to know the evil, the fact that the devil was present during that time.
A psychological state where individuals believe they have little control over their lives due to repeated exposure to oppression or injustice is what we call black slavery. Education about black history will surely help black Americans deal with psychological slavery. How can one praise Donald Trump for being a well-responsible president while the system is adversely corrupted and you are a black person? Black Americans need to stand up and declare peace with themselves that psychological slavery needs to come to an end. We are in a wild world right now of erasing bad moments of slavery. From the last video, we see how black Americans' ancestors were manipulated and treated. Black people need to stop supporting the white supremacy that is undermining black heritage. What do you think about this episode? Leave a comment and let's engage. Remember, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you, family.